pray. Amen.
Salute, pledge, I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, which is one nation, under God, liberty.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here, all the road department, the banner, all the commissioners here today. Thank you for coming out. And we've got some time crunches here with some of the commissioners have to be at other meetings at 10. So we're going to get started. I want to approve. Can I get a
Mr.
motion?
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from October 16th as presented. Thank you.
Can I get a second? All those approved, say aye. Aye. Stand as approved. We're going to get into the agenda items. Josh, you want to start with?
Yeah,
with
good morning,
A?
everybody. Good to see you guys again.
Morning.
We'll start with Maui Road. So, little update on Maui Road. We got a geostabilization firm to come out there and look at it, and they're giving us a quote on it. The girl said she'd have it within the next few weeks here. She did tell us that that would be really expensive for doing what we asked her to do out there. So, they were going to widen the road and put guardrails up there. That's what she's pricing us for. And then the other thing we were maybe going to do out there was maybe do the turnaround that we talked about. I reached out to the state and saw if we could get some state aid for it, and they were acting like they'd go for it and get us some money for it at first, but then state aid manager came and looked at it, and they came back and said they couldn't give us money for a turnaround. So we're going to wait and hear back from the geostabilization firm about doing guardrails and widening and see what they say.
Josh, Mr. Chairman, real quick. Who
Yes.
was the state representative that made that?
So I had talked to a guy that works for TDOT. He wasn't a state representative, and his name was Kevin. I can't think of his last name. He was the
Kevin, I can't think of his last name.
yeah Kevin he's the over the transportation planning for Region 2, and then he sent it over to state aid to see if we could use state aid money for it. And
He's the one that made the call, the decision that it couldn't be funded.
well, no, this would be it probably came down to Lisa Dunn, who's over
Lisa-
state aid.
DUNN?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anyone else with questions?
Okay.
on Eagle Creek?
All right, Eagle Creek. So Eagle Creek was the one with the HOA and the private roads. I talked to Derek Blackwood from their HOA last week, and he said that they've worked everything out with the developer. They've got everything in writing, and they feel good about their roads getting done 100% out there. And we told them we'd check up with them and make sure everything's going good when it warms up and they start paving.
Okay. I'm gonna ask these folks. I don't want to let them stay forever and a day since they're the only ones here. I'm gonna ask them if they want to, and then we'll come back to the traffic study on C.
I'm Calvin Thompson, live at 3895 Rodenbrook subdivision, and we have a problem with Mr. Howard. He lives over there in the subdivision too, and he works for Yates Towing Company, and he's parking the truck on the right side of the road and is tearing it up. And we have talked to his supervisors about the situation, and there's nothing to be done about it. We called the police, talked to those guys, and we need to get the vehicle off the side of the road because there was a bus come down the road. It was about 7:30 this morning, and he had to slow down in order to keep from hitting that the record. And so we're trying to see if we can get something done to have that truck moved in his driveway. He has a driveway, but he wants to keep it parked on the side of the road where he's tearing our road up over there.
Yeah. What did the deputy tell when they
Well,
came
when the
out?
deputy come over there, the supervisor come over there, and he said, Calvin, he said, what do you want us to do about it? And I asked him, I said, can you go over and knock on his door and see if he can't put it in the driveway? And he said, well, there's nothing much we can do. There's no signs up over here. And it's the way he did, like, I got my hands here like this. And I said, well, I can talk to his supervisor. So we went over there. at 165 Industrial Way, Southwest Cleveland, Tennessee, and we talked to the secretary, his secretary. And his secretary said that Mr. Howard is lazy and he defies authority. And I said, look, I said, we don't want to give this company a black eye. Let's try to work together and get this resolved. And we talked to Mr. Donut Gilbert, you know, and he's
Yeah,
even
he's a
called over
commissioner.
there. He's talked to the supervisor or the secretary, I don't know which one, but he was over to it was the 12th month. He was over at my house, and he called him up right there in my driveway and talked to the young lady on the phone. And we
Okay.
thought it was going to get resolved, but it never got resolved.
So the truck's still in
The
the
truck is still
roadway?
the
today?
truck is still sitting there, you know, on the right side of the road, blocking me from getting out of my driveway. I almost hit it this morning, and I got pictures of it,
Okay.
of the vehicle.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And he double parks, you know. I mean, he's a young guy, you know, and I don't know what the guy's problem is. I really don't. He's 20-something years old, and you know, we've got kids live over there, you know, flipping down that road, and somebody's gonna get hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Thompson?
Tom, I think, I've talked to him about that too, and they're not allowed to park on the right of way. We've had that problem, you know, with Brown Circle there one time there. Of course, if Tom thinks there's a law that they can't park on the right of way, and if they do, then I guess it needs to be passed on to the sheriff's office, called over there, and they can give him whatever it takes to get him off of that right of way. Am I correct on that? Can you not?
In the past, the way we've handled that, and we did it in a few situations, is the law enforcement really can't do anything unless it's posted. So I think what we need to do is go in there and post it, no parking on the right of way.
Right.
Yeah, he is, I looked at the pictures, and they are, you know, they're out in the road, which is a hazard.
I've talked to Mr. Bobby, works for the county road department. He's even came over there and he's looked at the road. He said the truck is tearing the road up.
That's a problem too.
Yeah,
Well, that's a whole different
Mhm.
story.
sir.
I mean, if we know for a fact that he's tearing up right now it's an accusation, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, but I say we just deal with one thing at a time. That is, if you need signs,
Yeah.
you don't need anything from us. You got the authority to put a sign up at will, right?
Yeah.
So it's your call.
All right, we'll put up some no parking signs, and then the sheriff's department can
Anything
handle
you
it
need
from
from us
there.
on that? I mean, you got budget. Very good, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. Request for traffic study at the intersection of Dalton Pike and Woodlawn Street. This was Miss Joanne Crowder. I think that she's in my district. She had called concerned about this intersection.
Okay. So I went out there, and with it being Dalton Pike, you know, that's a state road. There's nothing the county could do on the right of way out there. So, you know, we could call and ask the state about it, see if there's something they could do about the sight distance. But and we can reach out to them, but as far as the county being allowed to go out there and cut some trees down or anything, we can't do that since it's a state road.
You think maybe the road department could reach out and just see
We'll
if
reach
there's
out to
anything?
them, yeah, see if they can do anything.
If not,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, and then Hallowwood Hills Road, that is technically it's a county road. It's really just a dirt driveway, and there's some houses out there where people are maybe about to start building out there, and problem is that road was taken in 1971, I believe, and the surveyor, he put part of the road in Georgia. So it's a Bradley County road, but the road itself goes into Georgia a little bit. And the people, they're building houses out there, they're going to want some gravel out there eventually. And I don't think we can legally put gravel in Georgia, Tennessee Road Department. So I think it's going to be a similar situation to like Brad Drive, where the road was a little bit out of place. We'll have to get it surveyed, and then move it back into where it's supposed to be. So just letting y'all know about that one.
Okay.
Pleasant Grove Place Bridge. That's a bridge that's been closed since October of 2024, and the state has finally come around to funding that. It's 100% funded by TDOT, and it's Wright Brothers that won the bid, and they're supposed to be starting in the next few weeks here. They say they can do it in 2 months, but they've got up to 6 months to do it. So that should be done here soon.
Okay.
And then Old Chattanooga Pike Railroad Crossing. That is a railroad crossing that doesn't have gates on it right now. And it's pretty dangerous because the trains go through there at like 50 miles an hour, I think. And there's not much sight distance for looking if there's a train about to come. So could potentially see a situation where school buses cross and they look both ways. There's no train, then they start going across and the train comes around real fast. So the state is going to be paying to put railroad gates out there, which are really expensive. And then we also got them to pay for giving us some asphalt to help repave part of that road too. So that'll be coming up in the spring here. And then the last one I got is the Bradley County road list. I had sent Lori a copy of that road list, and I've got a copy of it here if anybody needs to take a look at that. But that's got all the changes, all the annexations, all the speed limit changes and intakes that we did for last year.
And I'm gonna lay it there for the minutes too. See if I can get the 2025 list and see if we can get a vote to approve this and to send it on to the full commission. Second. All those approved say aye. Ayes have it. Any other business that we need to discuss? Blake?
Josh, real quick, can we go back to Pleasant Grove? What is exactly the scope of that project that the Wright's going to be doing?
So that's a old bridge, and TDOT inspects the bridges in the county every 2 years, and they have been monitoring that one because it was breaking up. The foundation was kind of failing, and they changed the weight limit on it, and then eventually they said, y'all, just for safety reasons, let's go ahead and shut this bridge down. And it had been in the works to get replaced probably for 8 to 10 years, and TDOT was supposed to pay for everything, and I guess they just didn't have the funding at the time, and they've finally found the funding for it. And so that's it's from the high priority bridge program that they've got.
But what exactly is Wright Brothers going to do?
So Wright Brothers is going to tear out the old bridge and put in a brand new one.
Brand. When will they start?
It should probably start next month.
So if they start next month, call it March, first week of March probably, because we're pretty much still in January.
Yeah,
Say
that'd probably be safe.
March. So by Memorial Day, by the end of May, give or take.
We're hoping, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I guess, I don't know, is it time for open questions or whatever? Just an update on the striping and reflectors as we get to spring of 2026 with the ARP money coming to an end. Where are we at on that? Oh. So, pretty much done.
Now, that'll get us a couple roads, but yeah, we
Couple
pretty
roads.
much used it all.
So, Tom, I think it's been a pretty successful project over the last, 3 years? Once we finish up this year, I think it'd be good for everybody to know, like, how many miles of striping you got done, reflectors, and stuff like that. Then, if we want to continue with it, then obviously the county, I mean, we're out of ARP money. If this is something we want to do, the full commission would obviously have to fund it through your budget, stuff like that. We'll deal with that piece of it later, but I think it has been a very successful project, striping. I've heard a lot of good things about it, over the last 2 or 3 years. So I guess I appreciate your help on that and your cooperation. Yeah, I mean, just a little history on that. I think we all know, but the way it came to my attention was I saw a police report or sheriff's deputy's report that indicated, I guess there was an accident, and I don't know the accident, but it had on there that there was not striping. So it came to my attention that the officers do note the road conditions when there's an accident, and striping is one of the things that they put in the report. And I was like, well, we need to eliminate that variable out of the equation and start, and that's when we had ARP money. So that's how that all came about. Anyway, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know it's been a pain on the accounting side and on that side. The money's been a blessing, but keeping track of the money and the contracts and all that kind of stuff, you had to go through 2 vendors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The first vendor probably wasn't where they
We
needed to
weren't
be.
getting what we wanted out of him,
Yeah, so
but the next one, they
that
do
happened.
good work.
Anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thompson.
I'd like to thank Tom too for that, because striping out our way, especially in the county, and those narrow roads way, it's made a lot of difference, and I've heard a lot of people say that they sure appreciated that. And I know I have. And the roads I travel, why, the lines made a lot of difference, especially when it rains. And one other question, have we got any money for paving this year coming up?
Yeah, we've got, in state aid, we've got close to $1 million, which, $1 million don't go that far anymore. You're looking at over $100,000 a mile, so that's not a lot of money. But hopefully the commission will approve what we normally put in our budget. And what we've got, like 900,000, I think, that'll last us till July, which, we get a new budget and we can go from there. But we're doing okay, budget-wise.
Yeah, I'll comment on that. I took a look. I hadn't seen your numbers since December, the end of the year. Your fund balance is very healthy, but you had at the beginning of the budget back in June 30th. We just got the audit the other day, I say about a month ago. I hadn't had time to go through it, but your fund balance is pretty good. So we'll probably ask you to look at using some of that as part of your revenue projections next budget. But I agree with you. And hopefully, I think I saw on the bills that are up in Nashville, they're TDOT looking at another program, I guess. So we'll all know more here in about March or April on the budget for the 26-27 budget, but you've done very well.
We normally have a big, healthy fund balance, because you got to understand our work season is like from April to November, and of course your budget comes in right in the middle of that. So it's important for us to have a lot of money on hand to get us through that time. So we do try to have a healthy fund balance at the end of the fiscal year.
I want to echo that too with the road department. I put them right up there with first responders or anybody else, because if they're not clearing the way, we're not getting through. So I want to commend them on just working together. I know I call over there a lot, even with the sheriff's office, things that I do on my part of the job, and y'all always work with us, and and help us on things. And that's what's called a partnership. And plus all of our linemen, probably Cleveland Utilities and Volunteer and all these guys that came in here. We probably just missed just went above us just a little bit, or we'd have been facing things that they did in Middle Tennessee, and that's a mess there. I think we need to all pray for them too. That's devastation when you start talking about snow's one thing. When you start talking about ice and trees and roads and lines, that's a whole no power. That's a different beast. I mean, I pray for all those people. Anyone else before we close the meeting? Anything?
Could I speak on something that's
Go ahead.
not on the agenda?
Yes, sir.
I think I had discussed this with Crystal once before. We're restricted by the county uniform highway law about helping other counties in need. And I got an email from someone that wanted the road departments to send chainsaw operators to Nashville, that area over there that got hit hard by snow and ice. Well, I had asked Crystal once before about, when the floods hit up in northeast Tennessee, about sending a crew or two up there and help them out. And she advised that the county uniform highway law says that we can't, if we work for another entity, that we have to be reimbursed for our time, labor, everything. And is there a way that anybody knows of that in times of, like, say the governor has declared it a state of emergency, that could get us around that law? Because I've had guys, I was telling them about, that we had a request for chainsaw operators, and I've had several that said, I'd love to go over there and help. But, I don't want to send a crew over there and then have to send them a bill.
I think that's a question for the county attorney, Christopher Robert.
Yes, Tom and I have talked about it, and it's kind of one of those unfortunate areas where there is a statute that's very clear and on point, which basically says he can't do anything for anybody unless he has an agreement and gets reimbursed. And so it's set up, if you all remember, on several occasions, he's done some things for the school board, or he's done some things for the county, or he's done some different things. But there has to be an agreement in place, and he has to give a cost estimate, and then he has to be reimbursed. And so, unfortunately, the answer is we need to probably get with our legislators. There's no reason why there can't be an exception, as he said. I mean, I think most road superintendents would like to have some authority in very limited situations. This wouldn't be something that was regularly done, but unfortunately, until that law is changed, he can't legally do it, and I can't in good conscience tell him it's okay to do, even though, as he said, it's the right thing to do. It would be great if we could. So it may be something that we need to have a conversation with our legislators about, in my opinion.
If you have a state emergency, does the state cover that?
Unfortunately, there's definitely laws, and there is in place for that, but it doesn't help. It doesn't cover him in those situations. So, Howard, yes, the state of emergency covers a lot of things and allows for a lot of different things, but to my knowledge, this isn't one of them. So it may just be that it's something that needs to be added to that, so that it gives another tool belt, I guess, for us to be able to do that. Because, as he said, we don't want to send a bill to them.
All right, but is it just the road department that has this restriction? Because
Yes.
I know fire and rescue, Chief Stewart has gone places to help out. And
Yes, unfortunately, it's in the Uniform Highway Law.
So it's just you.
It's just for him, and it's just because those funds are restricted, and they're supposed to be just used for Bradley County roads, and they made all these changes to it when there was kind of some, I guess, across the state misuse of funds and things not being used for what they were supposed to. So it's just related to the highway
This
department.
one, and that's
Yes.
obviously all 95 road departments throughout the state.
Yes, it's
So
applicable. Yes.
the other 94 road superintendents would probably want this as well, I was saying, right? So it's an assumption.
Yes.
So we're gonna send this to the policy committee and I guess talk to Representative Howell, who's chair of the, road, transportation committee up there, and Representative Raper and
Yes.
Senator Lowe.
And
at
may,
our
you know, I
next
think
thing.
the
And from what I
trick-
understand, though, they've already pretty much finished up their bill submission. We may have already been too late to have this conversation. Well, it's never too late, but what they can do with this might too late. But get it in front of them and let them, you know, prioritize it, right?
Yes, and I think the trick, of course, would be you do want to narrowly tailor it so that it is very limited circumstances that you'd be allowed to do it.
I'm sure it would cover things like when you do send somebody, you know, you don't want to send them a bill, but you also don't want to be liable if, you know, something happens and they're like, oh, Tom Collins, person down there in Bradley County, this, you're talking about saws right there, cut a tree down and, you know, next thing you know, there's a sessions court claim or something, you know.
Right, right.
No,
Well, and
Good,
the
Good
current
Samaritan law covers them, right? But I mean,
well, and the current statute's written too, based on the concept that you would get this agreement in place. And obviously, in his scenario where it's an emergency situation, there's not time for me to draft a contract and send it to somebody for them to look at. So we've got to, somehow you got to eliminate the need for that, because otherwise it's just not feasible to do. So
our next step is to talk to our legislators.
Anyone else?
Dan Howell, he's chairman.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Any communication